So you can either click on any one of them or put in the address if you wanted to. And when you do that, you see a page like this, where again, you see a similar page that you see on the DAOs app, but I also mention the number of transactions at each one of them. So if you look at Raid Vault, it's 0, but then you've got 3 tokens and 200 transactions. So let's just open DAO Treasury. And when you open this, you see all the inflows, the outflows, and the closing balances. And you see a table of all the transactions that happened. And this table is interactive, so you can search, you can export filtered rows or all rows if you wanted to, and you can filter by date, type, token. So good example is we want to know for what transactions happen, so you can do that. And of course, these are all sorting, like you can sort them. Similarly, for the token balances, they're also the same pattern is followed, and you can filter by tokens. So as of now, we just have this. The plan is later to also add descriptions to the proposals and maybe categorize them. So do have a call plan with Sam after this to discuss the future of this. That's pretty much it. Questions?
This is looking really cool. I see a lot of potential here. Where do you see it going in the future? Like I think I've mentioned that the big thing other groups are doing, like Llama and a handful of other people that are building these bookkeeping apps, like double entry bookkeeping, where some kind of treasury accounting can happen on a transparent scale. Have you been thinking about things like that?
So I've built built the whole accounting system before on Web 2. So I do see a lot of potential here, like really getting this into mainstream. I looked at Llama Finance also. They didn't do too much. Like we could do a lot more with this. But yeah, immediately what I think here is that we would just, make it more seamless with at least the DAO house, but then let's see how that goes.
Awesome. Nice work, guys. And who all was on your team?
So I was with Danielle and Kevin. And I think Danielle helped me out initially at the start before you went for holidays. And yeah, Kevin helped me out with design.
I can also say real quickly, as someone who does a ton of accounting on a lot of different DAOs, this has already helped me. So I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, this is really, really cool. I think it's going to be extremely helpful for quite a lot of people, quite a lot of DAOs. Nice work.
Move on.
Yep, MF dashboard.
Hey guys, Sasha here. We're team. Our team was Chiali and Masayoshi, and Scott Preneur was supporting us with the MetaFactory team. There were 2 parts. I worked on a task to move the curation game from the mobile design to desktop design. I don't know, Scott, you're sharing your screen, right? If you want to click on the Figma design, just check that out quickly. We've done mainly design on this. That's not finished yet. That's how it looked before, I guess, sort of. And this is all the new stuff I did. I just adapted the mobile design to desktop, created a sort of a header, and then this was like a task. And then Chiali did most of the work on the new dashboard for MetaFactory. Yeah, that's that link exactly. And I supported her doing that. And Chiali was a bit shy, so she wanted me to talk, but maybe if you want to chime in, Chiali, and say a couple of things about the design.
guys. Yeah, I'm a bit shy. All right, so when we first got a request from the Meta factory, the original request was about their claim file, like allow their buyer designer to claim the robot token. They were pointing us to see the forefront. After we realized in the kickoff meeting, they have a multiple entry point, like they have a swap and pool, and they also have a really nice, well-designed website, the e-commerce website. You guys can see my screen, right? Can anybody answer me? See my screen?
Yeah, you're good.
All right, thank you. All right. So we took look at all the inventory. This their current claim Meta Factory AI, and sorry, Swap. They were using their bouncers UI, also the pool. This is their website. I'm sure most of you guys see their website. So they have really nice branding. So we thought about leverage their branding and so continue to bring all the digital product into one single navigation. So allow user to quick navigate into their project token and shop curation game and exchange, claim their token, or they connect your wallet, you can see your profile. So here are the design. So when user in the exchange, they basically want to do swap. So you can see kind of the price in the historical price change, the volume and basic stat below. And we also think about the mobile. So when user in the mobile, we want to bring the call to action on the top. So we bring the swap panel on the top and the navigation here. So once user want to join the pool at the liquidity, this chart will change to the Robot Plus or Rob Eat. So it's different chart and different stat here. Same thing. So this is actually this interface is their original claim, but we went kind of push the boundary to do more UI here. So in here we have a distribution historical chart. So they have start the release their robot since last October, and they release their token every 2 months, as I believe. So this is the kind of bar chart to get idea how much token they release, distribute per each 2 months. And those are the claim, how many people claim. So once the user click connect their profile, they can see if they have been claimed before and how many token is pending. So they have 3 type of rewards: buyer and designer, or you curate some game. So here's the kind of breakdown. When you hover, you have a buyer reward 50%, and different type. And on mobile, so this is an example of somebody only more buyer and do a little design. So that's pretty much it. So for now, we only have a design and we haven't do any user testings, or any feedback you give will be really appreciated. And we haven't started any development yet. Yeah, any question?
Those charts are beautiful.
Thank you.
Wow, I cannot wait to use this.
Yeah, and like having seen the curation engine early on from MetaDreamer, like his early designs, that's really cool that, yeah, both of these are really beautiful work, y'all.
And, I had invited MetaDreamer to this call, but he had a conflicting meeting, so otherwise he would have been here. But he's only given positive feedback so far, so I'm sure we'll be able to continue on with this work while we talk with him and negotiate something. So thank you.
Yeah, Charlie, this looks amazing. Nice work for the whole team. This is really beautiful.
Yeah, so any warriors looking for a next project, this is a good one that we definitely want to deliver for Metagame or Meta Factory. And so I think the robot fam that we have here can definitely give enough feedback that we can move forward with this prototype and MVP, and then kind of build on top of that for sure. This is kick-ass. So hit me up, or any of the seasoned leaders to pick up this as a next project. Nice work, guys.
I was just gonna say, I've been keeping up with Chelly's work on different projects, and she does awesome design work. And this is another example of some really great design work that she's done.
Thank you.
Yeah, beautiful work, Chelly.
Thank you.
Origin stories.
Awesome. Hey guys, so I am talking about the origin story / like freelancer tip project. And just to give a little context for this project, our team basically divided the problem we were solving to be threefold. The first being that breaking into Web3 is really challenging. It's really hard if you're on your own to sort of figure out like where exactly you'll fit in, which roles make sense. You're possibly fighting like, imposter syndrome if you're coming from a different industry, or even sort of figuring out how to transition into like a freelancer lifestyle can be obviously challenging. We also noticed that there's a lot of seasoned raters who have really invaluable advice, but no really easy way to share it. Basically, everyone's busy, and having the same one-on-one conversations probably gets to be a little exhausting. And lastly, there's a huge opportunity to create a little more parity between the really vibrant internal culture at Raid Guild and some of its less personal external communications. We're just seeing that there's like a lot of really cool, eclectic, down-to-earth people within the Discord, and we just would love to shine a little bit more light on the sort of more human elements of the DAO. So our solution was to create a working group that can really easily schedule, interview, transcribe, and publish interviews with seasoned raiders, and to make this process really easy and sort of decentralized, so it sort of shares the workload across a fairly robust working group. So I'm going to go to the next slide. So this is where we're at. Basically, we created this working group, and we were able to help people share their advice, their origin story, and their experience. And our goal with this project was to reduce the barrier to entry for Web3 and help newcomers really kind of feel welcome within the guild. I'm going to share my screen super quickly. Maybe not, it's not seeming to let me. But anyways, this is sort of like a screen grab of our MVP. If you want to click on the link, you can see the live version. So this is sort of the landing page for our content hub. We'll have like a bunch of stories sort of posted here as tiles. And if you click the first one with Decan Brown, you can see some of the cover art we did, possibly have like an audio version in the future, as well as just like a kind of place to host the interview in its full glory. So it's coming along really nicely. I'm going back to the slide really quick.
Is that actually a picture of me? It looks like it could be.
Possibly. I do have a picture of you that I've been working with. We're sort of tag teaming the design and the web dev at the same time, and like parallel pathing. So we have to eventually sync and align everything together. But we've got a really good photo of you.
I have some pictures of me wearing like the orange vest and stuff.
I was gonna say, you look like you're duck hunting.
Yeah, I'm excited to show you what I've done. I've been doing a lot of the illustration for this project. So part of my goal with this was just to add a little bit of like visual finesse that would make these really interesting and engaging for people to interact with. So I've been doing a lot of the cover art, as well as just adding little illustrations throughout. Our status is that we have our MVP website done. We have 4 interviews out of the 5 we want to get done for October, and we have an illustration and design library in development. So our next steps are to turn this into a formal RIP, and we're working on that proposal. We want to get 5 polished stories ready by October. And in the future, we really want to make sure we're integrating some of the apprentice stories, as well as thinking about NFTs and possible extensions for some of the artwork that we're creating. And the contributors are myself, as well as Travis, Jenga, Kevin, Will, Nightgeist, Beyonder, and Alex. Everyone has been really lovely to work with.
I love that you let me. Go ahead. Did you have more?
Yeah, I'll be quick. I'm sorry. Basically, from our interviews so far, we've been having some really fascinating conversations. We pulled 3 of our favorite quotes for this slide. I won't read through them now, but everyone has a link to the deck, so you can check them out later. If you want to go to the next slide real quick. I've been able to do some really fun illustrations. Again,
Oh yeah.
that I gave you. But basically from your conversation, I was able to get all of this content, which is really great. I'm trying to build this sort of like decentralized living illustration library. So it could be open source, could live in Figma, anyone can add or grab from it as they need. And it's not only great for this, but also, possibly internal use for Rate Guild in the future. So just building a library and really kind of making it available for anyone.
Yeah, this is awesome. You probably get a lot of content because I blabbed on for so long, but I love it. I mean, and it really ties in with, like you said at the first, we have this very strong, vibrant internal community. But like with the launch of the raid token and with us and the cohorts and with all these things we're doing, we're really trying to expand out and show people what we are. So I think this is just amazing, and it looks so cool.
Yeah.
I love that you led with the problems, right? And I think that those are things that we can all connect to, and that the solution is focused on culture and storytelling, and I believe that can be a super powerful tool.
Yeah, totally. One thing we were thinking about too that I didn't include in the deck is that if we were able to track like how many people are visiting the website or how many people are joining Raid Guild from looking at our origin stories or freelancer tips, we could easily turn this into like a super great case study for Shell Shop as well and offer services like this for paying clients.
I'm really liking it.
Yeah, this is so great. I'm just super excited to read the stories. I think content is so crucial, and having a framework for content is like something that makes it easily like forkable and readable. So amazing stuff.
Yep, love it.
Really excited. Thanks a lot, guys. Design system.
Hi, yeah. So I think I'll cover this one first. Basically, I'm Night Guys, by the way. So we started out with Rappies, and the goal with Rappies was to make a storybook for the components that are used in it. And so we basically started off with just that storybook, and we managed to display a few components, both with the connected wallet and when it's unconnected. I did some work on the cards, and Bruce did a lot of work on the actual state, so that we could see what we were working on at any given time. And also he initialized the storybook. If you could go to the next slide. Yeah, so this is what the homepage looks like with the wallet disconnected, and then the next slide should be the storybook. So this is basically the storybook for WeTrapper. Each storybook has auto-generated docs. We haven't really put much information into the docs. I think since it's auto-generated, there is some, but we are able to add more if we want to. And next slide. Out of this came the design guide for Raid Guild, which basically what we want to do with that is to have a kind of plug and play design system based on the Raid Guild design guide that we can use to inject into any projects that we undertake under the Raid Guild banner, so that we have we have consistent components and a uniform styling throughout all of our projects. So right now, the style guide or the design system rather, has most of the components that we were using in Rappies. So we have pretty much all of the components that we were using in Rappies that aren't that don't have state. we've put into the design system, and we've also imported a lot of the components from Chakra that we plan to work on in the future. So right now we have cards on the side panel and the text on the button from Rapis. We've divided the components into atoms and molecules. We've done a lot of refactoring to the actual design system to get it to be plug and play. So we don't want it to be just like you have to install a React app to use it, or you have to you have to have any particular framework. We just want you to be able to import it, and that's what we've aimed for. And right now you're just seeing a demo of a few of the components that we've come up with so far. The next slide contains basically work in progress from Solstice, which is an icon generator. So that has not been pushed yet, but right now, the status of the project is that I believe we have deployed the NPM package. We've also got the repo published on Raid Guild's repository, and we have a GitHub pages up that will auto update anytime we push to main. So I think we're doing we've done quite a bit, and there's a lot more to do. Hopefully this can turn into a RIP that we can just keep adding any components that are in other projects. We can just add them to this and have a fully fleshed out thing that anybody can use in their future development. And thanks to all our contributors here. I won't go through them, but thanks to you guys, and it's been a real pleasure working with all of you.
This is great. I think we've been asking for this for like the entire time that Raid Guild has existed. So I'm so glad.
It's actually interesting because
Totally.
it was like one of the first things we talked about was like setting up this. So it just kept getting pushed back onto the back burner or whatever. But yeah, this is looking really great.
Man, that is such a common problem with so many projects. This could be like a service we offered, setting this up for other projects, because so many of them like send this stuff to the back burner.
As you touch on that, I believe there's a create raid app that's like the idea, and I believe it would act as a boilerplate, which this would tie into. So this is basically, at least in our heads, a portion of that, where we can have something like a boilerplate, like a create React app or anything like that, where you're able to quickly get set up and start developing a raid-based app. And for any other DAO, I think that's why we made the design system plug and play. So it's not just about Raid Guild. Any other DAO is able to style any of the components in their own way and utilize it.
Super cool, man. I'm a big fan of design and componentizing everything, and love the potential that it has for just speed and consistency. I think that's a critical element to building a community, and so I'm really impressed with this, and you need to come over to Monster Maps to help us.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that. I think Dev Bruce is already over there, and I plan to come over there myself.
Thanks, Night Guys. And building on what Sam said, I mean, that's almost applicable to any of these projects that could be, offered to other DAOs as something that, a service. I think there's tremendous potential in that. And if we could get one of these as a use case really tightened up, and then suddenly we have hunters that we can activate and just send people out there and really incentivize all kind of stakeholders and provide a service. I think that's super powerful. It could be something that could get some traction. So I've certainly been thinking about that. Hopefully that gives everyone some ideas and some, rabbit holes that we can go down. That could also be revenue generating here.
Being the devils, I'll admit that I already borrowed this system for Rabbit Hole. We have an admin and a front end, and this is a beautiful implementation for what we needed to be able to not have to recreate all the components that we had for the front end for the admin system. So this has already been a huge help, and really appreciate
Nice.
for that.
Nice. Boost this.
I just wanted to add, this is Deb Bruce. I just wanted to add that one of my personal side goals for this was to make sure that you didn't have to actually install anything to view the storybook, because that's such a much bigger barrier to entry to have to check anything out. So the idea is that the design system is always live. The latest version is always live on the web. So you can just go to that website and refer to things instead of having to do the whole checkout and hope that you've got the right version and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
It really makes it it lowers the barrier tremendously during design time, especially.
Yeah, that's great. Great consideration.
Awesome work. Dive into the token gated handbook.
Hey everyone, my name is Derek. My background's actually in high school teaching, so I'll try to keep this short to mitigate death by 1,000 presentations, a feeling I know very well. The impetus for this project was that both for internal documentation and potentially for sharing markdown files with clients, there's this broader need within Web3 to be able to make certain things private. And so in the spirit of ETH single sign-on, this is a proof of concept that allows us to host a documentation style page, but prevent people from being able to access it if they don't pass an Ethers check that they're a member of, in this case, for the proof of concept, the Season 2 DAO. It could easily be changed to any DAO or add any other conditionals you need. While we're talking about the impetus, and before I get into much else, I'd like to shout out Sriram, not only for helping me with some of the initial building, but for this beautiful idea I'd like to drop here, that if we did end up adapting this to any kind of client work, a potentially beautiful user experience for working with Raid Guild would be that they get, some initial proposal work through our clerics and organization, and then as we start to get into more detail-oriented stuff, we can drop them something along the lines of a special client NFT that we could code in to our Ethers library, allows them to have access, solving the problem that our clients aren't DAO members, and how do we share things with them if they don't pass that check. So it's just a fun idea and shows how flexible this is in being able to use Web3 as a gate. I mean, the screenshot says a lot about where it's at. It's definitely in a MVP stage right now. What you're looking at is I ported our markdown files from Docusaurus, which after an initial consult with some team members seemed like too much of a black box to keep using as a framework. And I just used Nextra, which is a out of the box documentation generating kind of thing built on Next.js. So the screenshot you're seeing here shows an initial loading state with a wallet address that is not a member of the Season 2 DAO. And then after I switch to my primary wallet, which is a member of the Season 2 DAO, and reload the page, everything displays correctly. So it's working from a technical perspective, and the next steps here would be to dog food some of that beautiful stuff we just saw in the storybook and make it match the current vibrance of the handbook site. Potentially use a subgraph implementation in addition to, or instead of the way I'm doing it, with a direct call to the chain. And more importantly, be able to take this idea and implement it at the page or even section level. For example, if you could have a certain type of heading in a markdown file that automatically, refer to whatever implementation we end up going with, and hide certain content from being publicly visible. That way you can do a nice blend of public and private without having to do much futzing over on the hosting side. So once it's beautiful and useful, I hope we can wrap it up and submit it as a RIP. I would just like to use the last part of my time here on the floor to thank everyone who contributed, Kevin C., Sriram, Nick Caputo, and Scott for their time helping me get used to React and Next, and also just for being an eye-opening experience to what I had hoped Raid Guild would be, which is I could just hang out in hacking and people with more and less technical experience than myself would come by, and regardless, it would be a useful discussion and a fun time. So I really appreciate everyone for their help.
Yeah, this is great and totally something that, yeah, I've personally like really wanted for a long time for decentralized communities to have. There's a lot of uses for, I really like your comment about, that mix of public and private. I think that'll be super important. DAOs typically optimize for transparency, but there are things that need to be, protected, like, keys and permissions and various things like that. And it's like you mentioned, like clients do request that stuff sometimes. And being able to gate that through, an ETH login is perfect. We can do so much with that, tokens, NFTs, various different things to gate. So super powerful, really important. Yeah, great work.
My main concern with that would be, is this information still accessible if you're to like inspect the content, right? Like it.
Oh, I'm happy to speak to the current implementation and how it should be improved. That's a great point, Tom. So currently, I'm not as sophisticated with routing as I'd like to be. So ideally, this is something that exists on the server side and only gets served to the person if they pass the check on like a landing page. My current implementation, I'd love to get some eyes on it from a warrior, may not be sufficient for that. I think it is, but I'm happy to get some more eyes on that later.
Totally. Yeah. Awesome. I mean, other than that, this is freaking awesome. Like, this has been years of like wanting this. So
yeah, totally.
Awesome on that.
Yeah, this is very applicable to, I mean, in DAOs, the DAOs could definitely use this as like a boost. Any DAOs, I think this is going to be super useful, and everyone's been asking for it.
Yeah, to the extent that we were talking in Storybook about potentially, once this works internally well enough, pitching it through BizDev to other DAOs, the current implementation is pretty light. It's like a single JavaScript file you could drop into whatever you're using. So I think that gives it the flexibility it needs to be something we could pitch to other people.
Oh yeah, that's really nice.
Derek, have you talked to some of the internal project or product teams within Raid Guild about integrating this into some of our existing products at all?
I haven't yet, and I wouldn't know exactly who to reach out to, but if anyone wants to reach out to me because it seems useful, I'm more than happy to.
Yeah, I think that brings up a good point to pick on, Derek. With all of your projects, we can see a lot of potential with them. So there's just a matter of aligning the goal points with what a RIP would be. So I think for Derek's case here, he's kind of outlined the steps nicely with the implementing of the page level so that we could use it on the handbook itself to gate specific pages. And then obviously the design stuff would definitely help bring it to full RIP compatibility. There's another issue with the handbook itself, just because it's in a public repo. So we just need to sort out the data management piece of this one. So this one's a little bit bigger than some of the other projects, but as far as submitting an initial RIP, at least, I would see just finding alignment on kind of where an MVP aligns with the end of the season project.
So I just wanted to give a quick time check. We got about 8 minutes, so.
Cool. Truck into the next one, and I think we got 3 left. Run over just a smidge. Web3 Calendly Alliance.
Hey, this is Sasha again. I actually joined this project pretty late, but the chat was pretty quiet on the last day, so I'm not sure if anyone else from this project is here. M. Hoyer was chatting with me earlier. He might have maybe he can talk a little bit to the Solidity stuff that's been going on. I just helped with the design that was initially done by Peace Note, and yeah, that just happened in the last couple of days, and then Michael shared these files, these Solidity files. Maybe he wants to say a couple of things. I'll keep it short. So there's a clickable prototype you can click through. The idea is to have a Web3 Calendly, right? So you connect your wallet and then you can book some time. So I'll try to keep it short. I don't know, Michael, if you're here.
Yeah, hi, I'm here. Also want to keep it short, and I also joined in late to the project. So yeah, the main work was done by Carlos initially. He programmed the MVP, and then I thought about how to improve gas costs. I refactored it and used OpenZeppelin clones to make. So we are cloning a calendar for each user, and to make it cheaper, I added OpenZeppelin clones. And yeah, overall, the thing is finished, I would say. Needs some testing, and I started to write hard hat tests. Yeah, so now Sasha is showing the factory. Yeah, was really interesting to work with clones and think about factories, and also learn about the hard hat testing. So yeah, was a great experience.
Man, so I've been trying to keep up, but I haven't been keeping up with everything that's going on, and it's just every one of these projects so far is just so needed in the space. This is just really amazing.
Yeah, I'm super blown away by how these ideas that we like threw at the wall throughout history are coming to life right now. It's like quite awe-inspiring.
It's like a fucking Christmas wish list.
And then just think about all these things interoperating together. Holy shit.
All you need is a MetaMask.
And some ETH, dog.
Oh yeah,
or a RAID wallet.
Or RAID, yeah.
You could do really interesting mechanics in this too, like having the stake, and if you don't show up, kind of a kickback style thing.
Ooh, yeah, that's interesting.
Let's dive in more into the next step. Oh, sorry. Let's dive some more into the next steps for this one on the raid or on the season call next week. This is awesome. I think it could use some user research to understand if this is something that we would want to deliver as a full build, but this is like super impressive as far as the solidity that you guys built out and the whole prototype.
The design could also need some more work and love, but
yeah, fair. Cool. Logo, and then we'll hit hub.
I just threw this one in quick at the end, just now, like 5 minutes ago, because I thought it'd be nice to show. Dev Bruce, Jenga Jojo, myself, and Sriram, we all put out some ideas for what a logo could be, and we chose the one on the left, ultimately by a vote. Feel like it'd be nice to make a different version that works at a really small scale. That's all. I don't know if anyone else wants to chime in. But.
The Kraken, love it.
That's beautiful.
The idea was that maybe every season gets a different animal, so then there's like a bit of a system.
Yeah, I like that idea. Should get some. Probably should like print you guys some like badges or something too each season.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Stickers, badges, whatever you guys would like, I guess.
There's one that wasn't on this that isn't on that page that I think would work really well, that has more of that kind of spare raid guild design that's on the very bottom right with the crossed swords. I think it had like a 2 swords pointed upright or something. I think that might work really well on the small scale like you were just mentioning.
Oh, you're right. Thanks, Dev Bruce. I missed that one in my rush.
Gotta get some POAPs out on this.
Oh, POAPs for sure. Yeah.
Release the Kraken.
The member profiles was a metagame discussion. They ended up still needing to do the ceramic implementation, and then we're going to kind of realign with them post Dungeon Master. So that'll be a good opportunity to use metagame profiles and figure out what raid data we can push to them and show their data in the Dungeon Master interface as well. So we'll circle back there.
Nice.
Marketing Hub?
Will here. Sorry for the lack of visual, but this was a late project added to the season 2 cohort, and it's just way more of a hypothetical at this point. So, you know, shout out to Tay and Scott and Alex and Derek for helping lay out the foundation for what this could potentially become. But I'll just talk you through the idea that we had now, and then hopefully in the coming days and weeks, we can get some warriors and people on this to start really implementing this, because I think that it is a huge potential for Raid Guild. But it has been a previous rip, kind of getting that shilling out into a full like marketing consultation offer that Raid Guild can give to clients, instead of being reactive in a sense, saying, you know, most of it has to do with the technical skills and tasks, and kind of being proactive in the sense that we can offer them the more front-facing services that they will need to acquire users. And you can go to the next slide. So it starts out with the question of where it's going to live in Raid Guild. In the Dungeon Master would be obviously ideal. I don't know if that's too difficult, because you know there's a lot that goes into Dungeon Master. It's been worked on for a long time, but ideally we'd just like a hub where we can just pick people out for smaller tasks on these more comprehensive raids that have to do with front-facing marketing and back-end development at the same time. So say someone is really good at illustrating like Jordan, or they're really good at creating stories, content like that in a more copywriting type of way, being able to pull those people onto raids in a more ongoing role, because obviously those types of tasks are going to be needed throughout a project if someone is trying to create a Web3 product or service. We obviously have to find out after where it lives, what are the exact skills that are going to be needed in Web3 marketing, because it is, you know, it's an early stage in this, and we don't really know necessarily what people are going to be looking for when they create their, you know, tokens or Web3 services or anything like that. So once we can identify what exactly the skills are, we'll have a better understanding of how to pull people into these kind of raid groups within raid groups. And then lastly, the last slide, yeah, just pertaining to what I previously discussed, I know that a lot of visual design work is still going to be needed. It plays right into just like picking a color palette, picking a design scheme, and creating like comprehensive content that can be used on social media channels, Discord, YouTube videos that explain the product or service, which I think is huge for attracting the next wave of people. If they're unsure, they want to be able to kind of just visually look at something. So all of those little things will need to be considered when creating a marketing plan. And and then lastly, just getting those people onto like the Discords and the YouTube channels, social media channels, websites is definitely going to be the most interesting, because it's a demographic that is often overlooked in Web 2 marketing. So figuring out how we can get users onto those channels and make them core contributors and collaborators is going to be the biggest question with marketing. So a lot of research is going to need to be done on that. I'm still obviously quite new to Raid Guild, so you know, as I progress and as season 2 progresses, and I am exposed to more raids and more products and services, then perhaps soon we'll know, we'll have a good idea of how to acquire different specific user groups for different specific projects, because that's what it's all about, and that's what's going to make or break a good idea, you know, becoming a very you know, solidified project in the Web3 space, or just being another great idea that flamed out after less than a year. With that being said, I don't want to take up too much time, but if anyone has any ideas or any insight into this, please reach out to me, you know, and this is going to be something that's in constant development and take a lot of thinking and a lot of brain power from a lot of people in the Raid Guilds. And I want to make sure that it is a methodic, like we take this methodically, because before we can offer
full scale marketing services, we obviously want to have an idea of what we're walking into. But thank you.
Well, thanks a lot for that. And just in case anyone has to drop, I do want to comment on this, and I'm sure Kirk can wax on it if he's still here.
Yeah, I was about to.
Yeah, before anyone drops, if you are coming to MCon next week, this is kind of tangentially related, but one of our clients that we're building for, Fractal, is sponsoring a party. So this is really cool because it's a product that we built for them that they just launched a DAO on DAO House. It will be on Tuesday evening. So I'm working on getting the kickback set up, but the nice secret to this is that we have an awesome secret performer that will be out there. But this will be a good point to just kind of have some drinks, meet people for the first time IRL. It'll be in the same space that the Meta Factory party will be on the following night. So yeah, it's gonna be a good time, and I'm super excited for it. So yeah, on that note, just I will send those invites out. If you don't get something from me, just ping me. If you're attending that I might not know, just ping me and let me know. I'm trying to get that all pushed out today. But yeah, I think that's the marketing thing has been tackled, or tried to have been tackled in the space. I mean, there's a history from marketing DAO, and still really hasn't been figured out to now. To and Shill Shop is. It needs this kind of re-injection. So yeah, Kirk, I'll let you.
Yeah, not to eat too much time. I was just going to say, Tay and I have been talking about putting it off till after MCon because everybody's busy, but really focusing on a Shill Shop reboot. So maybe there's a way to sync that up with Marketing Hub and everything. I think like literally we're going the same direction. Shill Shop already has a dormant DAO set up with RIP funds in it from the previous attempt to bootstrap this, so it makes sense to me to just kind of roll it in there, and Tay and I can kind of jump in to help get this marketing stuff going. But 100%, it's needed.
Yeah, and I'd be down to offer like the client side. You were kind of like talking a lot about what's needed in marketing and things, and I'd be happy to like whatever, just chime in from like a client side of dApps that need marketing and what I've seen, and what are like actually needed, might be valuable in that process.
And at a broad level too, my initial thoughts. I mean, even Shill Shop, like Shill Shop's first client was in our mind was Raid Guild, right? So ways to market Raid Guild better, attract more users, attract more clients, and so also we have this internal list of projects that will probably need marketing to it, and that's why I said this party for Fractal is potentially related, since it just checks all the right boxes. There's a lot of overlap there, and you guys know how I like that. So yeah,
that sounds great. If there's any time that you guys have to meet up and sync about it either early next week, that'd be great. Love to get on the same page and figure out some next steps.
Thanks, Will.
Awesome work, guys. This has been really brings a tear to my eye. I love seeing this type of collaboration happen, and it's just super cool. So nice work, everyone.
Yep, same.
Yeah, great work.
I was gonna say all you can see is my mutinate, but it looks like it's mutated, but there are tears there as well. Great work. Great work.
Scott drop already? I left us. Okay.
He left us hanging. But I think we're done now.
Yeah, that's pretty reasonable. I mean, I don't think there's anything else. I think if people have other meetings to drop off to, please do so. But yeah, wanted to give props to Scott and JP and Damaged Goods, everyone that helped throughout this process. Thanks for your support. Everyone for season 2, we'll just we will be meeting again as a guild. Probably, not next week, most likely, but the week after. Sure, MCon. I think everyone after post MCon are gonna have a fuck ton of ideas and even now, I'm still like
Yeah.
realizing things that are coming out from ECC. So it's crazy. I can't like even begin to put into words how powerful that is meeting in person, and it's going to be amazing to see and hang out with a whole bunch of y'all. So looking forward to that.
Yep, Raid Guild has leveled up today, so you know, everyone who's done these projects, come do the DAO side of things. You got to go find your champion. Come in and join us. So awesome work.
Yeah, see you next week at MCon if anybody's there one. Much love.
We'll be
otherwise.
there.
Yep.